We tend to view the narcissist as a creature of excess, too much ego, too much pride, too much noise. But when we strip away the behavioral defenses and look at the clinical architecture, we find the exact opposite. Narcissistic personality disorder is not a surplus of self. It is the tragedy of a self that never truly formed. You are not looking at a fortress. You are looking at a scaffolding holding up an empty room. To understand how this happens, we have to move beyond the idea that narcissism is simply a choice to be difficult. It is a collision between biology and biography. It often begins before the first word is spoken. Research suggests that the heritability of these traits sits somewhere between 40 and 65%. This doesn't mean there is a narcissism gene, but rather a biological transmission of temperament. Imagine a child born with a nervous system that has thin skin, high aggression, low tolerance for frustration, and an intense sensitivity to shame. The left anterior insula acts as a bridge, translating the sight of someone else's pain into a feeling of empathy within us. In the narcissistic structure, that bridge is often structurally compromised. If you want to understand the narcissistic wound, you must imagine a childhood where you were never allowed to simply be. You were only allowed to perform. We often blame neglect, but parental overvaluation is equally corrosive. This occurs when a parent looks at a child and sees not a human being with flaws and feelings, but an object of excellence intended to bolster the parent's own self-esteem. The child is praised for being special, for being a prodigy, for being better than. This sounds like love, but it is actually a form of consumption. The child learns a terrifying lesson. I am lovable only when I am winning. This creates a fracture in the psyche. The child buries their true, vulnerable self, the one that feels fear, sadness, and inadequacy, and constructs a full self. This full self is the shiny exterior we encounter in adulthood. It is a suit of armor designed to repel the conditional love they grew up with. If they are perfect, they are safe. If they are flawed, they face the existential void of abandonment. This explains the profound deficit in emotional regulation. Most of us have an internal thermostat. When we feel bad, we can self-soothe. The individual with NPD often suffers from alexithymia, an inability to identify and describe their own internal states. They literally do not possess the language for their own emotions. Because they cannot regulate their self-esteem from the inside, they must extract it from the outside. This is why the need for admiration is so voracious. It isn't vanity, it's survival. They are outsourcing their psychological stability to you. When you criticize them, you aren't just hurting their feelings, you are threatening the structural integrity of the only reality they have. Understanding this etiology changes how we engage. It does not mean we tolerate abuse or remove boundaries. In fact, understanding the mechanism often requires us to hold firmer boundaries, but it allows us to shift from judgment to clarity. We stop fighting the grandiose mask, realizing it is just a defense mechanism, protecting a stunted, wounded child who never learned that they were enough just as they were. The tragedy of the narcissist is that they spend a lifetime demanding the world reflect their image, because they are terrified that without that reflection, they might cease to exist.